right now, so but we do appreciate your patience and appreciate y'all being here. So, Senator Payne, would you mind opening it with a prayer, please?
Yes, sir. If y'all please join me. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today, Lord, and just thank you for all your many blessings, Lord. Thank you for the opportunity that we get to serve the people of our state and have a voice and give voice to the voiceless, those of future generations. Lord, just lead us and guide us in all that we do this day, that we reflect you in all things that we do. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Hang on a minute. Okay. Before I forget about it, first of all, I want to thank the members of this committee for cooperating, working together, and we've had a great year, and I really appreciate every one of you and respect everybody so much. And I tell you, first time I've been in politics, and I tell you, I've got a different level of respect for what the people of this Capitol does and the elected officials. So we may say some more about that later. So let's get on with the program. First one out of the chute is Representative Holcomb, House Bill 1231. Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it on?
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's my pleasure to present to you House Bill 1231. What this bill would do, quite simply, it would allow students who are very high achieving to apply the Hope Scholarship to graduate or professional level courses. The statute as written now is limited to undergraduate degrees, and so what often happens among our best and brightest students is they will have double majors or they will graduate with double bachelors as long as they time it to where their graduation is at the same time. This would just open up the field a little bit. So somebody that is in a program for accelerated students to earn their master's and bachelor's within a consolidated period of time, they could use those Hope hours for that purpose. It is important to note that the Hope Scholarship would still reimburse at the undergraduate rate, so the students would be responsible for the difference between the undergraduate rate and the graduate rate, but they could at least apply the scholarship for those purposes. And the idea was brought to me by constituents who are here with us today. Mr. and Mrs. Davis, their daughter is currently a student, an extremely academically gifted student at the University of Georgia, and she is pursuing an undergraduate degree in social work, and then she is working to earn her MPA. And when she graduates, she would have over, I think, approximately 36 credits left over if we didn't open it up for this purpose. So she could, as stated, use that to get another bachelor's degree. What we want to do is provide more flexibility and help these high-achieving students achieve their academic goals, which I also think will benefit our state. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Senator Beach.
I had an add-on to this, and I've talked to Representative Holcomb. This is a good part of the bill, and I'd like to talk about it if whenever the time is right, after questions are asked of him.
You need to listen to him first. You need to listen to these people first. Yeah, we probably need to. If you would come on down, but would you let the Davis people come and speak for just a second?
Let's do that.
Would one of y'all be a spokesman? Okay, well, both y'all. Okay. Hold on. Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Hickman, members of the committee. Our daughter, Ansley, graduated high school with 35 college credit hours through the AP program.
Wow.
In order to get into the University of Georgia and into Georgia Tech, most of our students have to have that many credit hours just to be considered for enrollment in these institutions. Ansley has not changed her major. She's been there, thankfully. And so now, as she is a third-year student, she is actually a senior in credit hours. She will finish this June with all of her degree requirements for her undergraduate and minor. And she wishes to enroll to go ahead and move into the master's, the MPA program, this fall. She will have 37 hours of unused Hope credit. And we have a neighbor, coincidentally, lives 4 doors down. She's a math major. She's in the same situation as Ansley. She has 30 some odd extra credit hours. She wants to be a teacher. So she wants to get her master's in education. So this is not just a one-person bill. There are a number of people who want to be able to go into the social service area that this would benefit. So,
Thank you.
thank you for your time.
Two very quick questions. We need to get Senator Beach back over to rule. So, Senator Orr, very quick.
I'll wait. I was going to ask about the other
Okay.
part of the bill. I
Senator Harrell.
salute the author and the family. This is an excellent, innovative approach.
Yes, mine is more a comment than a question, so I hope that's okay. I also had a child, my second child, who was in a very similar situation and did graduate with lots of extra HOPE credits. That child is at the University of Oregon now. Had he been able to use those credits here, he might have stayed in Georgia.
Senator Payne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Number 10. Okay, let's try number 11.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This more so for the author. Would this apply for someone desiring to go to law school? If they had credit hours?
Excellent question.
It potentially could. The bill was written with some flexibility in mind, so somebody that was advanced to where they could just apply those credits towards a professional school. It would not certainly get them to the finish line, but it could be used for either graduate or professional school.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And one other substantive thing, just to highlight very, very quickly, is there is a carve-out for those that have dual enrollment, and the cap would be the same. So if you had dual enrollment, those would go towards the overall cap that currently exists in the statute, which is 127 semester hours.
Okay.
Senator Beach, you want to
Thank you,
talk
Mr.
about your substitute, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I added Section 2. I want to thank the Representative Holcomb for allowing me to do this. This state has done more for foster care in the last few years than probably any other state in the country, and we're really addressing our foster care system. What this section does is it allows foster care, if you were a former foster care youth, up to the age of 28, you can receive the Hope Scholarship for your first 30 hours without having a 3.0. You just have to be admitted into that university. So it gives you 30 hours to catch up. Now, after 30 hours, you have to have the 3.0. But the first 30 hours, if you meet the requirements to get in Kennesaw State or Georgia State or whatever school you want to get into, and you meet those standards, as a foster youth, we're trying to help them get ahead and get a start. You know, when these foster kids, they age out at 18, they're just thrown to the wolves, basically. And we got to help get them educated. They've got an opportunity to go to technical college. This gives them an opportunity to go get a higher education and really improve their quality of their life. So I think it's a good portion, a good add to the bill, and just strengthens it. And I'm glad to work in a bipartisan way with Representative Holcomb. And I'll answer any questions.
Senator Orr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is great and innovative, Senator. I appreciate it. And I know there's some startling statistics around foster children that I think it's less than 3% currently, or maybe my number's 2 or 3 years old, that would get a bachelor's degree. There's just obstacles at every turn in the road. So
well, I do know one statistic that I do know: 72% of women are pregnant by 20 when they come out of foster care at 18, and so we've got to get them in school and get them into a job and get them productive.
Anybody else have any questions of?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the appropriate time, I'd just like to make a motion to do pass.
Can I ask a question? Ms. Riley, do you have any questions on this? You don't? Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor of the substitute and the motion and the bill, say aye. Raise your hand. Okay. Well, you passed 100%. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Congratulations.
You know that guy's so weird.
Yeah.
So we just passed, so we didn't.
We have anybody here for the? Yeah, Randy did it. Randy substituted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what you're about.
That was confusing.
A black security guard one morning at 7:30 in the morning and got fired. But he's been representing Homosexual Hate Wing. He represents.
To come because we got to, but he's hung up in rules too. But he may present in a few minutes. So, I think we're going go on to Senator Harrell. She has a study committee that she wants to present to us, but potential.
And I've got a few people who want to speak, who are really good.
If we look like we're disorganized, we are.
If you look like it's going on 6 o'clock, it is.
That's right. Yeah, well, that's true too.
With 3 more committees tonight.
Good to see Senator Williams sitting down there at the
I
end.
didn't know which one I was supposed to come to, this or the public safety committee. After rules.
Well, we.
You made a good choice.
I know, so I just, when it got to be 5:30, I thought, well, I'm not going to hire excuse.
Yeah, there you go. Senator Harrell?
Yes,
it's your
Mr.
go.
Chairman, thank you for hearing Senate Resolution 770. I'm going to be brief because I've got these people back behind me who can say more words than I can and better. And but this is a great effort. I think you're going to feel really good about this. Senate Resolution 770 is a bipartisan study committee on offering higher education opportunities in Georgia prisons. So why should we study and learn more about this now? First reason is there's a significant funding source that's available for us. Since July 1st, 2023, Pell Grants have been made available again to incarcerated students. And research indicates that offering higher education opportunities can save the state money. States have actually offset the cost of education programs with decreased costs due to reduction in recidivism. And on a related note, higher education offerings in prison settings help the incarcerated with making a successful transition back into their communities. In addition, the program can add trained workers to the workforce, potentially with specialized skills in high-need areas. It gives the incarcerated something positive to focus on, a way to turn their lives around. And one of our speakers that we have is going to tell her personal story. So why have a study committee? We really need to document and learn about the programs that we have now. And we need to look at how do we evaluate their effectiveness. Our programs that we do have now are spread across the state, and the study committee could look at how do we fill the gaps? What are the obstacles to starting new programs? Are colleges hesitant to start these new programs? I have heard there is some hesitation on the part of universities and colleges. They have questions about, well, what happens to the student when the student is no longer incarcerated? Will they finish the program that they've started when they enter their community? And questions like, would a state office of transition help? Do the programs need wraparound services? Could there be a state clearinghouse for data on effectiveness and cost saving? Those are all of the questions that we could really look into as we learn more about how Georgia can implement more higher ed programs in our prisons. So at this point, I'd like to hand it over to our first speaker.
Lillian?
Yes, Lily.
Yeah. And she is your intern.
Yes, Lillian is my intern. I'm going to introduce her. Lillian came from Georgia Tech, public policy student, and has wanted to focus on criminal justice issues. And so I had a textbook that I gave her to read that was written by the former Representative Roger Byrd, who is doing work in this area. She read the textbook, and it has pretty much become the focus of her internship to work, to studying, making connections, and she wrote the Senate resolution.
Thank you.
So, good afternoon, Senators. Thank you for being here this evening. My name is Lillian Hansen. Like Senator Harrell said, I'm her policy intern and a sophomore at Georgia Tech, and I would like to give you all some more details on what higher education in prison could mean for our state. So again, like Senator Harrell said, the Pell Grant was revoked in 1993, but was recently reinstated in July of 2023. This gives many incarcerated people the first opportunity for higher education in 20 years, but there are currently few programs offering bachelor's degrees in Georgia. Only 4 out of the 32 of the four-year colleges and universities in Georgia offer programs which grant degrees to 7 out of our 34 state prisons. And while national studies have on different types of prison education programs have shown that 4-year programs decrease the rate of recidivism more than any other type of education, including technical training and adult basic education, there has not yet been a comprehensive study of Georgia's education programs. So this committee will provide information on the effectiveness of different programs on reducing the rates of recidivism and job attainment post-release, as well as the overall community impacts of formerly incarcerated students returning. Additionally, the committee could study which wraparound services would be most effective at ensuring that newly released students continue their education and don't reoffend. Although there are several open questions about prison education for the committee to look into, one of the handouts provided for you today, I think it's the last page, is an estimate I calculated of how many tax dollars could be saved by expanding post-secondary education in Georgia based on the Department of Corrections' most recent statistics and the most recent literature on prison education programs. I want to be as transparent as possible in my calculations, so I included all the assumptions and limitations that were used, as well as how they could have affected our numbers. As you can see, even under conservative estimates, expanding post-secondary education in prisons will ultimately benefit every taxpayer, not to mention the benefits provided to incarcerated people and the communities they return to. If we're serious about saving taxpayer dollars, we should investigate expanding higher education opportunities in prisons. I ask for your favorable consideration and support of creating the study committee on higher education in prison. I'm happy to answer any questions, but there are a couple more individuals who would like to provide their personal testimony.
You have no questions.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay.
Very, very good. Beautiful job. Beautiful job.
Okay. Dr. Gillian DeMarche? Yeah, there you go.
Mr. Chairman, esteemed members of this panel, committee rather, thank you very much for your dedication to the people of Georgia. I'm Dr. Joe LaMarche. I'm a vice president at Life University in Marietta, Georgia. And I'd like to read a letter that you've been given today that's signed by myself and our president. And it relates to, obviously, education in prison, because I'd like to speak in favor of SR 770. In 2016, Life University launched the Shalon Project, an initiative to provide credit-bearing classes leading to college degrees to people in prison in Georgia. This groundbreaking program made Life University the first Georgia college or university to provide an accredited degree program in prison since the ban on Pell Grants for incarcerated people in 1994. Since then, the program has achieved remarkable success. 39 incarcerated students at the state's largest women's prison have earned Associates of Arts degrees through the program, while 14 have earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology. All students graduated with honors. Students who have left the prison have gone on to find gainful employment, pursue master's degrees, and rebuild positive relationships with their families. Currently, the program has a recidivism rate of 0%. Quite impressive. Yeah. Despite being one of the states with the highest per capita rates of imprisonment, opportunities to earn a degree behind bars in Georgia are scarce. In 2020, only 1.03% of people leaving Georgia state prisons held a bachelor's degree, compared to 33.6% of the general population. These disparities have negative implications for the predominantly black and brown communities most impacted by incarceration in our state. The same communities face greater barriers to post-secondary enrollment and completion, and these gaps in educational attainment intersect in turn with racial inequities in health, wealth, and income. Life University is committed to reducing these gaps in keeping with our core belief that all people deserve educational opportunities that empower them to thrive and to benefit others. Studies show that increasing access to education for incarcerated individuals enhances public safety, reduces poverty, and boosts economic growth. College education is a powerful evidence-based tool against recidivism. Nationally, the Bureau of Justice Statistics reports alarming rates of recidivism, with 55% of women released from state prisons between 2012 and 2017 being rearrested within 5 years. In stark contrast, earning a degree while incarcerated dramatically reduces these rates, with degree programs around the country reporting rates of 2 to 8%. Our program, as I mentioned a while ago, has a 0 recidivism rate. The personal and intergenerational impact of college and prison is profound, with college and prison leading to consistently higher post-release employment and earnings for formerly incarcerated people and their children. The impact is especially notable for mothers in prison. Since 1978, women's incarceration in state prisons has grown at twice the rate of men's. In 2010, the Bureau of Statistics found that 62% of women in prison had a minor child. Our students have conveyed that college and prison was a chance for them to reconnect with, to inspire, to encourage their children, and to achieve in spite of the challenges they face. So we believe that colleges and universities in Georgia hold a special responsibility to contribute to this transformative change in and beyond the neighborhoods that they call home. Life University has led the way, pledging to provide this educational opportunity even at significant cost. Annual expenses for the program to date run as high as $635,000 per year, which Life University has funded. We have offset these costs somewhat with some private foundational dollars. Nevertheless, the majority of the costs have come from the institution. Life University has not only led, moreover, but has also invited and encouraged partners to build higher education in prison alongside us statewide. We are the leader and the founding partner in the Georgia Coalition for Higher Education in Prison, through which we share resources and provide technical assistance to schools and nonprofits who share our dedication to expanding high-quality higher education within the prison system. We also have strong positive relationships with the Department of Corrections and Community Supervision. Together, we are finding creative ways to coordinate in service of students in prison, as well as those who come home and face new barriers, from limitations on access to housing and employment to post-traumatic stress and criminal background checks on applications. So we support this resolution, and we look forward to collaborate with you or other organizations that have that same impetus, that see the positive value of bringing this to our communities. And joining me today is a Life University student who earned both her associate's degree and bachelor's degree while incarcerated, and she is currently pursuing her master's degree. So next to speak to you is Miss Angela Williamson.
Please come up. Please come on. Thank you. And tell us what you were in prison for.
Actually, my crime was that I was convicted of was RICO.
What?
RICO, organized crime. That's what the charge was.
So you in federal prison?
No, I was in Georgia Department of Corrections.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
served
Please
12
go.
years there. No yawning. I saw you yawning a moment ago. So I had to ask.
It's 3:30, it's 3:15.
I know, it's been a long day for all of y'all. I'm so sorry. So anyway, I kind of, when they said, who wants to speak, and I said I would, then after you do that, you kind of panic, because you're like, what can I tell anyone that is making decisions for our state, that's the leaders of our state? What can I say to y'all that validates the importance of this? And so the first thing I did, like any good student would do, is I did my research. And this is what I found. Y'all all have degrees. Some of them are economics, some of them are finance, some are social work. There's one of y'all that even has an electrical engineering degree from way back. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was fascinating. And so my question to you is this: how did that degree change your life? If you think back over your life, how did it set you up for change? Because see, your degree, when I looked on your bios, was way back, and it was a stepping stone to somewhere else. My degrees were a bridge. They were a bridge of hope. They were a bridge of life. and they were a bridge to a future. And I'm going to show you how that bridge actually worked. When I got out, I started applying for jobs. I had 2 degrees at that point in time. I had an associate's degree in human development and social change and a bachelor's degree in psychology. And I was applying for just normal routine jobs, nothing out of the ordinary. And I would do the interviews and I would go through the conversations and everything would look great. And the minute I had to say I was a convicted felon, everything would change. And I would get the letter that said, "Thank you for your interest, but we have decided to go in a different direction." Until one day, one company said this: "We understand that you've served your time, that you've paid your debt, and we thank you for that. And we see that while you were incarcerated, that you did more to better yourself. So we've decided to give you a chance." See, it was that "and" there that bridged that gap. That made that difference for me. So this is the next things that I want to, it was mentioned family. When I was incarcerated, I saw the kids that would come, the family days, the children's centers. I would see these mothers with their kids. And we all know that when a child has to say, "My mom's incarcerated," is completely different than saying, "My mom just got her education or her degree." We know that a child that comes from a home that has incarceration in it will usually follow those patterns. But we also know that a child that comes from a home with a college education will also follow those patterns. So y'all are being given the opportunity to change something down the line, a ripple effect. And so before I take any questions, I want to say this. What did it change for me? This is what it changed. I was released on October 24th, 2023. I have been out less than 5 months. And yet I sit before y'all, the leaders and the decision makers before Georgia. It opens doors that I could not open otherwise. The discussion was also about how does, we called it in the prison setting, vocational. It's also known as technical or trade or skilled. We see that because originally the prisons were predominantly male, so it was welding programs, auto body, small engine repair. Those are there, they're present. And they're good programs, they're viable programs, they have a purpose. But how is it different to have an educational program? And this is how. If I walked into a hospital setting and I said I'm going to treat everybody exactly the same, I'd be missing the boat. It's the same in the prison systems. We're not all the same. And we all need to have that ability to rise above. 75%, and I believe that's the last number, you may want to check me, I'm maybe a year or two off, 75% of the people in prison will return to society. They'll be your neighbors, they'll be your employees, they'll be the citizens that walk your streets. What do you want back out there? See, for education for me, it did something completely different. It changed my ideologies. It changed my schemas. It changed who I was at the core. The Shalon Project did a wonderful job with their human development and social change, because not only were they teaching us the basics of algebra, which I did not like at all. Hope I never see that again. Algebra and lit and things like that. They also had additional classes in there. Creative and Artful Life was one of the strangest classes I ever took. It was about art in a very odd way. You had to do an art project, and it was one that you couldn't do. It was setting you up to fail, which is an odd concept. I remember we had to do the paper mache thing, and it all looked a terrible mess. And I kept thinking, they're just wasting time. What are we doing here? But what they were doing is they were recalibrating our minds to understand that we could fail and yet continue to go and thrive. So recently we had a forum at Life University, and 8 of my cohort came, and we were all doing well. As you said, recidivism was 0. And one girl said something that really stuck with me. She said, when I got out, I couldn't find a job. We all kind of shook our heads. It's hard. And then she said this. She said, but I knew that I had to keep going. And she said, so instead of getting down, I went out and I started working in the community. And it's through that I found my job. See, that would have been the point of change back to a recidivism lifestyle. And she didn't take that path because she had the education and the ability to know that there was more. I thank y'all for letting me speak today. Do y'all have questions? I'll be happy to answer anything that you have.
Any questions, committee?
I do. Thank you very much. I've had so many similar accounts given to me by people who've had access to higher education behind bars. And it all rings true, and the recidivism rate says it all.
It does.
But then the personal account, fleshes out in another vibrant way. So thank you very much for sharing your experience and your perspective. And tell us a bit more about how the institution worked to facilitate this phenomenon, which is all too uncommon in Georgia prisons.
I believe that with the particular program that I was in, that it was that first 18 months, it was that associate's degree that was really prevalent in changing mindsets. It worked hand in hand with the required educational requirements, but it also went behind that with having us identify through self-awareness, through integrity, through how our daily lives not only impact ours, but our families, our friends, our communities, that ripple effect out. And it was set up in such a way, I kept thinking the whole time I was there, I was like, this is brilliant in how this is set up. It was set up in such a way that it was like every course was layered on top of each other in a mindful approach and an awareness. Even our business course was a positive business. It wasn't just business. They didn't just tell us how to do a business, which they could have. They actually did it as a positive business, even teaching us as far-reaching as B corporations, which Georgia doesn't currently recognize, but I'm hoping they will someday. And the B corporations is where not only do you have a business, but that you're actually giving back to the community. It was that underlayment of that constant community give back that they presented on a regular basis. And it attaches in a way that brings an awareness. That was another thing that I noticed as I looked at y'all's bios. It was everything from Chamber of Commerce to sitting on medical boards and I thought this is community. This is community. What sits here today. And how do we take that and we take it into a society that has kind of been set to the side for a moment? And how do we make sure that when they do come back out that they're ready and prepared in a different way than what they went in? I know the statistics when they were talking about the foster care caught my attention because a lot of people that are in prison have been in the system in foster care. So we saw a significant amount of that. And so you see these systems actually integrate hand in hand all throughout. What you change here or with the foster care earlier will ripple throughout all systems, and that's what we're asking you to do is take a look at that.
Thank you. I will interject a personal thing. Senator Burns and I had a fundraiser back in October, I guess it was, and his sheriff now, one of the counties he represents, Emmanuel County Sheriff, came, and I campaigned a good bit with him back during the time that I represented Emmanuel County. And he has been very, very instrumental in prisoners in his local jail receiving their GED certificate. And I get and I'm sure Senator Burns does too, I get the local paper from there, as most of us do from the counties that we represent. And every few weeks he'll have 4 or 5 people, men and women, on the front page of the paper that have received their GED. So at our function that day back in October, I asked him to be prepared, and I said, was this, who started this program? He said, well, he actually started, it was another sheriff's idea in another county, but he's actually one that started. I said, well, how many people have you had come through the jail? And this is back in October, and I think he started like early part of that year, maybe it's been going on a year. How many people have you had graduate with a GED? He said 28. I said, how many have been back in jail? 1.
Exactly.
One.
The numbers are there.
So that proves, just like the foster care bill we just passed, if we provide these opportunities for these people to change their lives, they will have an opportunity to get back into society.
That's correct.
Senator Williams?
At the proper time, I'd just like to make a motion.
Yeah, it's time.
Make a motion to
Second by
pass.
Colton Moore. Excuse me, Senator Moore. I'd be chastised for that. All in favor, raise your right hand. Good. Very good job. Thank y'all for being here.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just for a moment, one more vital statistics for us all to understand is that typically 80% of the people behind bars have not graduated from high school.
That is correct.
And
Correct.
yes. And to your literacy advocacy that you've been leading in the state, they can tell the number of prison beds that they're going to need based on the performance of kids in the third grade.
What we saw when we were doing the program with Life University and through the Shalon Project was that the students that were in the program changed the culture of that prison. And so you had 45 women that changed the culture of an 1,800-bed prison. And they were
that's huge.
teaching the GED classes.
That's
and they were
huge.
mentoring and tutoring.
Cool.
So it has a ripple effect far beyond what you could imagine.
Good enough. Thank y'all for being there. Looks like
Thank you very much for
looks like
sharing today.
Representative Petrie's ready to get out of the starting blocks. He's right on, ready to go. Ready to go. Ready to go.
I've got to get back to Senate.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I,
Thank you for being here.
I'm trying to get back before they finish.
Thank you for your patience.
Yes, sir. No, thank you. Thank you for letting me get back over here. So, Mr. Chairman, you have before you 394260S. This bill relates to our Georgia Public Safety Memorial Grant, which y'all are familiar with, provides scholarships to the children of law enforcement officers, firefighters, and correctional officers who are killed or severely wounded in the line of duty. Very simply, what this bill does is add, as you'll see starting on line 19, spouses. And so what we're trying to do here is to expand this scholarship so that when you have an officer who is killed or permanently disabled in the line of duty, or a firefighter or a correctional officer, and obviously a breadwinner in that family, one of those breadwinners is now out. We're trying to help provide an opportunity to the remaining spouse. And so we're adding spouses, and you'll see spouses and before children on line 19. And you'll see that again on the next page on line 47. You'll see where we place spouse or child there. And so and then of course we're making sure that those spouses, beneath that in 54 and 58, they shall have been a citizen of this state for at least 12 months, et cetera, and so on. And so that very simply, Mr. Chairman, is what this bill does. We have a strong philanthropic effort in my community, a group called the 200 Club that raises money, advocates strongly, and provides scholarships for these same individuals on a philanthropic level. And this really came from working with them. They feel like we can do so much more for these individuals. Sadly, there's more of these than we would like and believe. But there's so much more we could do if some of this was taken here and provided by the Georgia Public Safety Memorial Grant. There are about $3.8 million in reserves for the program currently. And just to hit on a couple of questions that I've answered that have been asked in previous committees, this is for, this can be used for graduate programs as well. And full-time, they have to go full-time, but it does not have to be consecutive. So they can break it up, but when they're going, it has to be full-time. Currently, the way the bill is struck, the way the measure is structured. So I think that should answer most of the questions, Mr. Chairman, but I'm glad to answer any others that I can.
Senator Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I firmly believe that the proper role of government is public safety and education in this state. Therefore, this is a great piece of legislation. And, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make the motion to do pass.
Thank you.
Hold on just a second. Let Senator Burns speak.
Just for clarification, these are grants, is that correct?
Yes, sir. It is the, it's all under the Georgia Student Finance
So
Commission.
Georgia, that was my
Yes,
question.
Georgia
So
Public
Georgia-
Safety Memorial Grant.
Right, so
It is a
Georgia
grant.
Student Finance would do the administration, it's the,
Yes, sir.
And
And
existing-
President Riley is here with us, I see. here
and
to the
she's
west.
supportive of this recommendation. I certainly support it philosophically, and I think you're correct. The spouses should be afforded an opportunity to continue their education. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you, Senator.
Mr. Ripley, is there a dollar amount involved here for the grant, or is there an upper limit, lower limit? How?
Yes, so currently the maximum award is $18,000 for one academic year. And that is the current, and if you're interested in the history of awards over the last 3 years, Mr. Chairman, in 2023, there were 35 students awarded $586,000. In 2022, there were 45 students, $690,000. And in 2021, 38 students awarded $523,000. That tells you plus or minus, vacillates to some degree, but you see pretty much kind of where the awards are running. And again, I alluded to earlier that there's about $3.8 million in reserves currently for the program. The funds, these funds are from general funds and donations from the Department of Driver Services and the Department of Revenue.
And I guess a lot of the reason behind that, because you have a lot of, if these guys, when they tragically died, you have a lot of spouses that are probably stay-at-home moms that really
yes,
have
sir.
got to get a job, and that's I'm sure that's a lot of the purpose behind
That
it.
was the genesis of the idea,
Okay.
Senator, that yes, you're dealing with folks that now need to improve their economic ability to support a family.
Senator
And Mr. Chairman, I would add that the eligibility is 8 semester or 12 quarter award limit.
Thank you.
So that's
Senator Payne.
correct.
Oh, I thought you had a go. You didn't have to go. Okay.
He answered
So-
my question.
Oh, that was you. Okay. Okay.
Trying to
So we've
anticipate.
got a motion from Senator Moore and a second from Senator Burns. We have any other questions? We have no other questions. If you all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay.
You know, we're gonna make
It's 100%. 100%.
Thanks to all of you,
Yeah.
Senator.
Who's going to carry it?
Actually, I have not contemplated. I've been so busy doing other things like the one I've gotten rules that I haven't asked anyone to carry this.
Okay. So you
But
come
I
up
will
with somebody.
work on that, Senator.
Thanks, sir.
I'll just make that decision very
Appreciate
quick.
it.
busy over there passing Senate bills right now.
Yeah.
We've been so busy passing Senate bills, I can't keep track of nothing. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to run
Thank you.
across the street,
Good luck and rules.
if all is well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
Appreciate your passion. We're kind of waiting on. Okay.
on Jasper.
We don't see him. So, anybody want to sing? No, nobody wants to sing. Okay. Well, thank y'all again, and I'll go back and reiterate how much I appreciate how much I appreciate the passion of this committee, and how great y'all have been to work together this year. And I just look forward to. I think all of us on this committee are coming back next year, as I recall. So thank y'all. Y'all have a great year, a great rest of the few days we got left, and God bless you, and God bless the great state of Georgia. And we're adjourned.
Hope these good bills we passed today can get through rules.
Yeah, exactly. Thank y'all.